So a long time ago, when I was in 5th grade, my friend told me about this awesome new game coming out. When we sat down at lunch, he pulled out his 2nd gen iPod Touch and proceeded to show me and my friends the most incredible game trailer we had ever seen.
Oh my god! Oh gosh. I think it'll make a person become insane.
This game is an atrocity.
It's revolting. It's violent. It's everything you love in a game. And your mom's gonna hate it.
Why would they even make something like this?
Dead Space 2.
That's right, the now infamous Your Mom Hates Dead Space commercial had hit the exact demographic it had been aimed at. Preteen boys who like gross things and violence and all that other stuff that seemed cool and edgy at the time. Anyway, my parents were more overprotective than a mother grizzly during hunting season in rural Texas, so there was no way I was getting my hands on it. And that was really my last interaction with the Dead Space franchise until a few weeks ago when I checked the Origin store and found that EA was just giving away Dead Space for free, like the lovely, customer-loving, definitely not soulless corporation they are. Now, if I'm being honest, I've never really played a horror game before because I'm a giant coward. So me trying to play Dead Space is like a person who's afraid of heights trying to get over it by skydiving from orbit. It's kind of a drastic step. Nevertheless, sometimes you just gotta throw yourself in the deep end, so I turned on all the lights in the house, booted up the old PC, and started out on my descent to hell. Oh god! The game starts out calm enough. I was surprised at how good the game looked, despite the fact it's almost a decade old. The only thing that really shows its age graphically are the character models, and yeah, they're not Spider-Man 3 the game bad.
Help! Please! Someone! I'm going to die!
But they're not exactly great. Anyway, your characters are on their way to the USG Ishumaru. Ishumaru? Ishumaru.
USG Ishimura.
Whatever, close enough. A planet cracker that can mine an entire planet by taking out its core. The ship has stopped communicating, and Isaac and some supporting characters I can't remember the name of right now are sent in to figure out just what the heckles is going on. You play as Isaac Clarke, and I know what you're thinking. No, not the Welsh 19th century newspaper proprietor, printer, and publisher who published the national anthem Land of My Fathers. No. This Isaac Clarke is the ship's engineer, and for some reason likes to wear a bucket on his head that he's attached some LEDs to. I mean, I don't know, I guess it looks kinda cool. Whatever, to each their own, moving on. The ship you're on crashes because it's a video game opening sequence, so of course it does, but your team survives and heads aboard the Ishumaru. Everything seems pretty calm at first. I mean, sure, the place seems abandoned and there's a suspicious amount of red liquid covering a lot of the floor, but hey, I mean, it's not that bad until— oh crap, oh gosh, oh crap, run, oh my gosh, holy fuck! After the initial poop your pants jump scare, you get your first weapon, the Plasma Cutter, and this weapon helps set up Dead Space's unique combat. You see, in most third-person shooters, you aim for the body or head of the enemy and try to put more bullets in them than they do in you. In Dead Space though, aiming for the body or even the head of most enemies doesn't do a whole lot of damage. Instead, you've got to cut off the limbs of your horrifying foes, which the game is eager to remind you about at least half a dozen times.
Dismember them. That should do the job. Forget about shooting them in the body. You gotta cut off the limbs.
You can angle the Plasma Cutter horizontally or vertically depending on where you want to shoot, though most of the time you're going to be firing in a blind panic, so you should probably just always have it horizontally so you can at least take out the legs and slow these suckers down. And now with your first weapon and a fresh pair of trousers, if you're anything like me, you go off exploring the ship, completing objectives, upgrading and buying new weapons, meeting interesting new forms of life and getting to murder them, and figuring out just what on earth happened here. I mean, I guess technically we're not on Earth per se, but what on a zombie-infested spaceship happened here doesn't quite have the same ring to it. Along the way, you're gonna run into some crazy, creepy enemies that would love nothing more than a bite of your tasty behind. The most common are these handsome slasher fellows that sometimes shamble around the halls super slow like they didn't quite make it to the bathroom on time, and sometimes like to— holy crap! There's also these weird looking things that jump around walls and somehow manage to move faster after you cut their head off. There's these horrible baby looking monstrosities that can shoot you from any surface, which makes the zero gravity sections of this game absolute hell because they can be anywhere at any time, and the game is really bad at telling you where the projectiles are coming from. There's this smaller swarm of enemies that definitely aren't the Flood. No really guys, we promise, totally original. What even is a Halo? And there's also this flying thing that can bring any corpses on the ground back to life, so that after you've used up all your weapons and ammo fighting alien zombies from hell, and this thing swoops in and makes them more powerful, it makes you want to take its stupid little tail and shove it right up its weird spiky ass! There's a few other enemies that I'm not gonna spoil for story reasons or whatever. The story of what happened on the ship and who this weird doctor guy is that keeps showing up is fairly interesting, so I don't want to spoil too much if you're interested. The game is free right now after all and can run pretty well on just about any modern PC. Finally, I want to leave off this video with a few tips for anyone finally getting around to this game. First of all, if you're looking for a challenge, start out with the hard difficulty. I played through on medium my first time and got through about 3/4 of the game without dying to an enemy. I'd like to attribute that to my massive MLG skills, y'all, but I died to the environment quite a few times, so that's probably not the case. If you are playing on hard mode, or really any mode for that matter, it's important to organize your inventory. I had upgraded my suit to level 3 and was confused as to why I couldn't pick up any more ammo or health until I looked and realized I was carrying like 1,000,000 rounds for a gun I didn't even have equipped at the time. So yeah, you know, that's frustrating. Organize that crap. On a related note, save up for suit upgrades. The extra inventory space is really nice, and the extra armor it provides gives a really great edge in combat. Plus, I mean, just look how freaking cool it looks. I mean, your enemies probably don't care, but hey, you do. Man, I looked good. The game also has a nasty habit of putting what look like dead enemies on the floor, but then you go up to them and oh look, they're not dead, and oh great, I need to change my pants again. If you want to check if a body is actually dead, you can use Kinesis on it. You see, actual dead bodies can be picked up and thrown around the map willy-nilly, but if it's not actually dead, you can't pick it up, so you can back up to minimum safe distance and fire away, keeping your pants safe and clean. And finally, the game does autosave periodically, but there are also save points scattered throughout the map where you can save manually, and I would do this any chance you get. Like I said, the game does autosave periodically, but it's nice to just have that little backup there that you know exactly where you saved. And I think that's just about it, guys. Like I said, the game has held up surprisingly well, and it's still a fun and crazy intense horror game almost a decade later. The medium difficulty was a bit easy, but honestly, for me, being the coward that I am, that was probably the only reason I stuck through the whole thing without quitting out of sheer panic. Anyway, the game is free this month on Origin, and I highly recommend it. On a scale of 1 to 10, Dead Space gets a solid HOLY CRAP!